This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this meeting. We will just give time to people to connect. So we will start very soon. Thank you for being here. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this first meeting of the MicroPitch 22-23. We will just give a few minutes to people to connect and we will start very soon. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the MicroPitch 22-23. We will just give a few minutes to people to connect and we will start very soon. Thank you for joining. Welcome, everyone. Let's start now. So welcome, good afternoon. We are very happy to have you with us today for this first training of the Sustainable Entrepreneurship Training Series of the MicroPitch CARICOM 22-23. Welcome. MicroPitch is a business plan competition which is combined with business support training for Caribbean entrepreneurs. And MicroPitch 22-23 is the fourth edition of the MicroPitch, and for the first time is for the full Caribbean region. So MicroPitch this year will focus on sustainable businesses, creating a positive impact on people and planet. MicroPitch for the CARICOM region and countries 22-23 is organized by the European Investment Bank, Frankfurt School of Finance and Management, and the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center. So I'm Lucie Charrier, and I work for the Frankfurt School team and the European Investment team. And I'm here with my colleague, Anne and Ariana, who will be part as well of the team and will help you during the full training, and Yankyu Yip as well from the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center. Welcome, everyone. We would like as well to thank the sponsors of the MicroPitch CARICOM 22-23. And as sponsors, we have the German Embassy in Dominican Republic, PROMA, Parley, UNDP Office of Trinidad and Tobago, and the UNDP Office of Belize. So thank you for all the sponsors. Thank you for all of you who are joining today. And we would like to thank as well all the partner institutions of the MicroPitch in the full Caribbean region. So just a few words on the Zoom platform that we will use today. So we will just ask you to mute your mic during the presentation of Catalina, the trainer of today. And of course, you can ask all your questions in the chat. And then you will have some time to discuss, and we will go in groups so that you can have discussions all together. So now I would like to give the floor to Yves Ferreira, who is the regional head of the European Investment Bank for the Caribbean region. Yves, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lucie. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening for some of them. And thank you very much for joining us today. As Lucie mentioned, MicroPitch is a platform for entrepreneurs that combines business plan contents with the training series, and it seeks to promote micro and small enterprises in the Caribbean. At the same time, it focuses on entrepreneurship and capacity building of entrepreneurs. In this sense, the micro-pitch is definitely an initiative aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It was born in 2019 in the Dominican Republic, and it's an initiative of the Technical Assistance Program for the financial sector in the Caribbean, promoted by the European Investment Bank and managed by Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. The target of this program is really to turn and to promote responsible financial inclusion of the population of the Caribbean, especially women and youth, and of course stimulate entrepreneurship in the region and at the end contribute to job creation. The second edition of the micro pitch was organized in 2021 for the Dominican Republic, and it focused on business plans or solutions to adapt businesses in the times of COVID-19 pandemic. Also the same year in 2021, we had the third edition of the micro pitch, which was held for CARICOM countries, being the first edition in English. As of today, micro pitch has received more than 300 business plan competitions entries. And we have awarded a total of 14 winners, 8 of whom have been women. The winners have received prizes in the form of seed capital, training, personalized mentoring, as well as training for more than 1,100 entrepreneurs. In the last 3 years, a network of more than 3 million entrepreneurs has been formed throughout the Caribbean region. 3,000, I should say, because 3 million is really too ambitious. So today we're launching the 4th season of Micro Pitch 2022-2023. As Lucy mentioned, this edition will focus on sustainable business that create a positive environment and social impact. For the first time, the micro pitch will connect entrepreneurs from the Dominican Republic with entrepreneurs from the Caribbean CARICOM countries by having 2 micro pitches in parallel, one in English for the CARICOM countries, one in Spanish for the DR, and then we will have a great regional final. So to all of you that are with us today, my best wishes for the success of this new edition that will be certainly very profitable in terms of training. Please do enjoy this first training on sustainability with a gender perspective with the excellent and passionate Catalina Gutierrez. Thank you very much for your attention and all the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Yves. Thank you so much for these inspiring words and to give all the best luck for all the participants for the new business plan competition. So now I would like to give the floor to Carlington Burrell, who is who is the director for the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center, and to give a few opening words. Carlington, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Lucy. And thank you so much for having us. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session. Of course, it's all about sustainability. And so the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center is absolutely proud to be working with the micropitch team, to roll out this edition of the micropitch to, help the entrepreneurs with their business, their development, their growth across different sectors. And so we really like to welcome one and all. I'm sure you'll enjoy and find this session most valuable to your respective entities, and that you continue to grow from strength to strength. It's a pleasure working with the team. I really want to welcome the entrepreneurs again to this session, but not this one, just this one, but the other 2 sessions that is also on the calendar for 2023. Thank you all and welcome once more.
Thank you, Carlington. Thanks a lot
problem.
for these words.
Yes.
And now we would like to know you better because you know the team now, the organization team of the micropitch, and the few people that will talk at the end as well. But we would like to know you now, to know. So we will launch a small survey, and so I will launch it just now. Let me know if you can see it. You can write it in the chat. Yes. So we have a few questions for you because we would like to know you better, because we know that you are joining from different countries, from the Caribbean region. So please tell us from which country you are joining. If you are joining from Barbados, from Belize, from Dominica, from Haïti. Bonjour à tous les Haïtiens qui se connectent et qui sont avec nous. C'est un plaisir. From Jamaica, welcome Jamaica as well, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent, and maybe it was not possible to put all the countries, so please, if your country is not here, write in the chat your country so that we know from where you are joining. Welcome everyone from everywhere. Then we would like to know your gender, if you're a male, female, or maybe you don't want to answer to this question, so it's not obligatory, of course. What is your age as well? We would like to know if you're young, if you're very young, if you're still young. So just I see in the chat female and young, very good. Then we would like to know how long we know that you are entrepreneur, so how long has your business been in operation? So it's very important to know if it's still a small business, you have just created it this year in the past months, or maybe you have a business which is running from 1 to 3 years, or with more experience, 4 to 6 years, or 7 to 9 years, or more than 10 years. So please answer to this question as well. And as well, we would like to know in which sector you are working. So we know that, for example, tourism is very important for the Caribbean region. So if you are working for tourism, for services, for retail, for agriculture, so please fill and answer this small survey, these small questions. I see in the chat, spy business 3 years. Great. Very good. So we have 39 answers so far. So I will just give you a few seconds to 14 now answers. Very good. So I will close now 31. Great. Thank you everyone for answering the survey. So I will stop it now and we will look at the results together. So I share the results with you. So the majority of you are joining from several countries are at the same level. St. Lucia, 12%. Trinidad and Tobago, very good. Other 39. Oh, please write the name of your countries in the chat. We would like to know from where you are connecting. As well, we have people from St. Vincent, from Jamaica, of course, from Haiti, Grenada, Belize, and Barbados. Great. Thank you for joining. We have a majority of women, 88%, and 12% of male. We have a majority of you have between 33 and 60 years old, and as well, we have some people who are from 18 to 33 and other 60. For the majority of you are the same level, okay? Your business is operating for less than 1 year and 1 to 3 years. So quite new businesses, new entrepreneurs, very great. As well, we have people who have 70% with the business operating from 4 to 6 years and more than 10 years as well. Great, with a lot of experience. And when looking at the sector, Wow, okay. The majority of you are in the agriculture or agro-industry. Very good. You can put as well in the chat what you are doing. Other as well, 32%. So maybe if you want, you can post as well in the chat what you are doing. Tourism, 10%, 15% services, and agriculture, 32%. Good. Thank you. We are very happy to know you better now. So thank you for participating to this small poll. And I will now give the floor to Anne to do a small presentation of the micro pitch.
Yes, thank you very much, Lucy. And also from my side, a warm welcome to this launch of the micro pitch Sustainable Entrepreneurship Training Series. It's so great to see where you are all connecting from, to see the different countries, the different entrepreneurial sectors that you're working in. I already saw some chocolate business and I really got hungry. So it's so great to see all of you here. And again, warm welcome. The European Investment Bank Frankfurt School and the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center are very happy to launch this edition of the micro pitch. As it was already said, the micro pitch is a combination of business plan competition and a training series, and operating since 2019. So I will not really dig deeper here because my colleagues already gave you some ideas, and I know that we're all very, very anxious to listen to Catalina and see what she's bringing to us today. So I will try to keep this very brief. Nevertheless, I think it's super important, and we're very proud to say that this is already the 4th edition of the micro pitch, and it will be bigger than ever because it will be one integrated event covering the entire region. And that means we will have 2 parallel business plan competitions, one of them being in English for countries of CARICOM, and there will be one regional final. So the winner of the CARICOM micro pitch business plan competition will compete against the winner of the Spanish edition, and we will have one regional micro pitch winner. And we all hope that this year's micro pitch edition is with you in applying to the business plan competition. But again, you are already part of this edition by being here today. So thanks again for being here and sharing some time in your afternoon or your evening with us. As you know, we're here today to learn a bit more of sustainability with a gender perspective, and we're super happy to count with Catalina Gutierrez that we will get to know a bit better later. And we also have a special guest, Ricardo Rampaul, who will also be introduced a bit later, but here you already can see him, and we're very excited to hear what he has to share with us today. And as we already mentioned, that this is a training series, that of course means that there will be other trainings. There will be 3 trainings. In January, the 2nd training will focus on circular economy, and a 3rd training will introduce us to sustainable entrepreneurship and sustainable business models. So check it out already, mark it in your calendars. We're very happy to see you there as well, because, and here comes maybe an important date for all of you, by attending to all 3 sessions, you're eligible and you will receive a certificate of attendance to the Sustainable Business Training Series. And if you decide to apply to the business plan competition and you have attended all 3 trainings, that sums you points to the application. So that might not be the worst idea either. So we very much and very kindly invite you to also attend January's training sessions that we're preparing for you. And as a last part that I would like to introduce to you and give you a bit more context is the already mentioned business plan competition, that applications are actually already open. We're focusing on sustainable businesses or businesses, meaning all your entrepreneurships that positively impact people and planets. And you might be wondering, maybe, what does that bring me? Why should I apply? There's a kind of a rain of ideas. It definitely brings you visibility. And it's a huge networking opportunity. We're partnering with many interesting and important institutions, but also among yourselves, networking with entrepreneurs. We heard that the micropitch has a network of already more than 3,000 entrepreneurs. So you can meet your peers. You also get to speak in public. You get to pitch your business, so you improve that. You can attract new customers, find partners, find funders. So it's definitely a very good idea to apply to the micropitch. And I think this is maybe at least not less important and not less interesting. There are attractive prizes waiting for you. So you can win as a micropitch winner. Seed capital is waiting for you. We're also preparing mentorships for you, for the winners. And the regional micropitch winner will be traveling to Guatemala and will attend the annual conference of the Caribbean and Central American Microfinance Network, where you can present your business in front of, and they are talking about already more than 1,000 people being there. So it seems to be a very big thing, and you can present your business there. So definitely check it out, apply to the micropitch. To do so, you have to go to the Micropitch Caribbean website, en.micropitchcaribbean.com, the section register now, and then there you can find an application form that you just have to fill in, and that is your application. So as I'm saying, applications are now open, and we highly encourage and invite you to apply, but maybe not right now, because now I want to hand back to my colleagues, and we're going to have an interesting training in front of us tonight. Thank you very much. I'm very excited that all of you are here and to hear more about sustainability with a gender perspective.
Thank you, Annie. Thanks a lot for the presentation. And we are waiting all of you to apply for the business plan competition. So now I would like to introduce Catalina Gutierrez. Thank you, Catalina, for being with us. Catalina is president of PROLIDER and has over 25 years of work experience in gender equality, female empowerment, and sustainability. And so we know that this training will be very exciting and very interesting. So Catalina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so happy to see all my friends from the Caribbean. And I see that you are from different countries. I'm sharing at this moment my presentation. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully it's in the floor, right? Can you see my presentation? Excellent. So as we said before, this presentation is divided into 3 parts. The first one, we'll talk about some general concepts of sustainability and gender. It's important that together we go through this adventure, but having the basic concepts very much in place and in order for them to be very clear. Then we're going to talk about intersectionality with an emphasis on disability, and we're going to have a special guest, which is Ricardo Rampaul, that you can see on screen. Then we're going to talk about some statistics that give us context for our countries in the Caribbean and Latin America. And also part 2, where I'm going to describe some tools that you can use in order to analyze your business ventures with genderless. And then the most important session of all is the group sessions, where you're going to answer some questions and you're going to apply everything that you learned together, which is pretty powerful. So let's start. I really want to meet you and know more about you. And the best way to do so is to learn from you which are the entrepreneurs that you admire the most. And the only thing you have to do is go to menti.com, and there you can insert the code 28079395 and put all the entrepreneurs that are most admired by you. And I want to open the floor just 2 minutes or 1 minute for anyone that would like to say out loud an entrepreneur that they admire. Is there anyone over there that would like to talk about someone that they really admire? Anyone over there? My friends from St. Kitts and Nevis, from, I can see Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos, from Haiti, where they're doing delicious chocolate. Anyone over there that wants to talk about their favorite entrepreneur? I can't see anyone, so I'm going to start to call names. From Jamaica, Lini Rodney, who has an apiculture and hive and value-added products. Are you there, Lini? Can you hear me? And Odessa from Guyana, are you there? Well,
Yeah.
it seems... Yeah, hi, how are you? It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to this workshop. Tell me, who do you admire?
Well, at the moment, I do not have any favorite entrepreneur, but I am looking at quite a few, mostly North Americans, to more or less study their business strategies. But I don't have a favorite at the moment.
Okay, that's fair. It's good to know. I mean, if you at the moment you don't admire one, maybe throughout these courses you'll get to know some business practices and you'll get to admire some of them. We can see Rihanna and Coco Chanel, and this is good. It's good to know a bit more about you. You can still, we're going to continue with our course. Oh, there's a lot. Nicole Campbell, oof. Perfect, in all women. That's exciting to see. Okay, so we'll have this and we'll send it to Micropitch in order for them to know a bit more about you through the entrepreneurs that you love. Okay, so now we're going to talk about my favorite topic, which is sustainability. And this is a concept that began with more or less an environmental perspective. Karl von Karlowitz, which was the chief forest guard in Germany, he worked all day long near the forest, and what he saw is that the trees were being ravished really fast, and they weren't giving enough time for them to be flourished, and the capacity for them to become to grow and be able to give us what we need for life, it wasn't happening. So this concept of sustainability at first had a tendency to go towards more an environmental balance. But in 1987, the United Nations Brundtland Commission, and the Brundtland refers to the ex-Prime Minister of Norway, where she had under her leadership a report called Our Common Future. And in this report, this definition that all of you know and might have heard, which is called meeting the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future generations, first appear. And it was the first time where sustainable development and sustainability started to have a more social balance perspective. And as you can see in this slide, you can watch that sustainability refers to three important pillars, which is the economic balance, the environmental balance, and the social balance. And when we talk about the economic balance, we talk about the resources that we produce, the management, the productivity, our relationship with clients. With social balance, some aspects which are important is the quality that we have in our culture, work-life balance, our relationship with the community. And in environmental balance, it's important to take into consideration waste management, recycling, energy use. You can analyze this depending on the type of business that you have, but definitely sustainability through a business perspective means having a new mystic, a new work mystic, a new way of working and looking at your business through fostering symbiotic relationships. And what do I mean by symbiotic relationships? These are win-win situations. For example, in the animal world, if you look at the elephants and they have little birds on top of them, well, the birds eat some insects that are on top of the elephants. The elephants are happy because they don't get bitten, and the birds are happy as well because they consume all the protein. So this is a win-win situation, and this is the type of relationship that we should have towards economic, environmental, and social balance. And how do you analyze this within your company? Well, you have to take into consideration your material topics, the aspects that are most important regarding these three areas, and very importantly, take into consideration the information that you receive from all your stakeholders in this participatory process where you analyze the sustainability throughout your value chain, taking into account, obviously, the possible risks that could come if you do not take the action upon this. And now, when we talk about gender, what we mean is it's a social construction, and it refers to the roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes given to a society at a specific time, and that are considered appropriate for both men and women. And these roles and behaviors and activities are learned, and they change in time. They may vary a lot, and also they can change within a society itself, or between different societies. I'm sorry, I'm just going to move this here because, perfect. Also, when we talk about gender equality, what do we mean by that? We mean equality between men and women, where we foster equal rights, responsibilities, treatment, opportunities, and value for both men and women, not only in according to the housework and caring for the family, but also in jobs and companies. And why do we do this? Because at the end, what we want is to try to ensure that all people are treated with dignity, that they can develop their full potential and have a higher quality of life, which includes the same labor and rights for both men and women, and equal value and distribution of responsibilities, as I said before, and opportunities, and also in the decision-making process. Achieving gender equality, sometimes people think that it's only a women's issue, but not at all. And you'll see throughout this presentation how women and men are both affected and are preponderant in order to be able to establish this concept throughout the value chain for entrepreneurs. And this specifically is very important for entrepreneurs, because your businesses are composed by people and our products are made by people. They're one of your primary resources, and you should really learn to analyze your segments, women and men, in a very profound way, in order to understand the relationships that go between them, and how this affects the production of your product and the consumption habits of your product as well. So it's not a women's issue, it's a responsibility for everyone. And obviously, gender equality benefits everyone. And this has been shown throughout different studies. And it doesn't mean that it should be, if there's more equality for women, there should be less equality for men. No, we're talking about the same type of equality. It's the same thing for everyone. And gender mainstreaming throughout your businesses implies putting on your gender lens in order to create your gender analysis that addresses inequalities in all the types of business development exercises that you do at all stages, where, as I said before, try to analyze the experiences of both men and women and the effects of the actions that you undertake. And also, this is really important because sustainability cannot be achieved if there's not a participation of all sectors, the private sector, civil society and governments. An example that I want to give you is for example, Dominican Republic has a national development strategy, where in this governmental tool that helps our local strategic management includes gender mainstreaming throughout all the pillars and objectives of the plan. And this is important also for private companies, because about 80% of jobs are generated by companies and business ventures. So everything you do and the culture and the type of work that you do not only has an impact on your direct employee, but also on their family and the community. So as I said before, gender perspective is essential to achieve sustainability, especially for the type of businesses that you are working with. And for this, you have to empower both men and women, but especially if there are any type of gaps, empower women in order to be able to achieve equality. So definitely it's a collective action to create change. And I have to stress out that if gender equality is not achieved, then we cannot achieve our Agenda 2030, all our objectives. I mean, it's very important to take into consideration gender mainstreaming. As you can see, the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals, have 54 specific gender indicators. But if you analyze and make comparisons between different types of SDGs, you can see that it's all interconnected, and gender perspective is across them all. So you'll see in the next slide, but I wanted to say that some institutions, some countries have constitutional provisions on gender equality that prohibit discrimination against women, and laws mandating a quota and guaranteeing equal rights to confer citizenship, which are key elements to have equal rights. But there's still many gaps, and at the current rate, it will take 286 years to secure overreaching legal frameworks. And despite some laws, which you'll see in the next slide, to prevent violence against women, at the current rate, it will take at least 21 years for these laws to take place. So I wanted to stress that out of 195 countries, in 143 countries, there is legislation that promotes equality in the Magna Charta, which are the constitutions. But still, because of stereotypes and gender norms, there's not an equal space for everyone to achieve their maximum capacity. And one of the aspects that you can see this as an example is the gender wage gap. And according to the IADB Bank in Latin America, it's approximately 18%. That is that men and women perform the same work, but have a different paycheck. Even though, as I said before, there are laws and policies, there's gender-based stereotypes, which we're going to analyze throughout the presentation, and social norms that prevent gender equality. And what is the socialization box? Well, it's a process by which we learn to feel and behave as women and men according to their norms and the beliefs that each culture dictates for each sex. And it's a learning process of roles. And as you can see in the picture, it also dictates by everything that is around us, what we should wear, the colors we should like, the toys that we should play with. And it's a way in which we learn to internalize social norms, cultures, and beliefs, and it's all around us. Gender roles often determine traditional responsibilities assigned to men and women, boys and girls. And I like to state some examples of this. For example, women have a reproductive role. Then this role should be gathered in the domestic space and mostly takes care of unpaid work. And what do I mean by unpaid work? It's like washing and cooking and cleaning, and also a role which is a task assigned to them is the care of people, and this means that they should have a subordinate role. On contrast, men have a more productive role in the public space, where they have more remunerated work because they are the breadwinners of the family, and this conveys power and responsibility. And obviously, to achieve that, they need to be authoritative and have a dominant attitude. Gender stereotypes definitely are harmful when it limits the ability of men and women to pursue their full personal careers and make decisions about their lives. And as you can see in this slide, there are some male stereotypes that they're emotionally stable, that they have a tendency to dominate, that they're not very effective, that they're always brave. And in contrast, women are emotionally unstable. I don't know if you heard, but a lot of people say, that woman is crazy. You don't say that man is crazy. You sometimes say that woman is crazy, and that they're passive and they're frivolous. They tend to be submissive and have fear and are dependent and weak. And I want to show you an example of even the most advanced countries in the world have these different gender bias. Can you hear it?
No.
No.
We cannot hear the sound, Catalina.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to share once more because probably I shared without sound. So I'm sharing once more, and thank you so much.
It's great. Thank you, Catalina. It's working.
Okay, let me just put it back. Thank you.
Opplever du at kvinner og menn likestilt I Norge I dag?
Ja, det vil jeg absolutt si, I hvert fall av min egen erfaring.
Man får gjort alt det samme.
Uten tvil, I hvert fall hvis du sammenligner med andre land.
Jeg lurte på om du først kunne beskrive den personen du leste om I fortellingen der inne.
Kanskje litt egoist.
Litt kald.
Ikke sånn en ideell mamma da.
Kan jo fort tenke at den en bitch sånn sett I den settinga.
Han virket genuint opptatt av det han drev med.
Jeg synes han virket hardtarbeidende og kompromissløs.
Han elsket det han drev med.
Typisk leder, kanskje.
Tror du ville svart annerledes hvis det var en mann?
Nei, det tror jeg ikke.
Nei, ikke nødvendigvis.
Nei, jeg tror ikke det.
Hva tenker du om de funnene?
Nei, jeg synes det var litt sånn ubehagelig å tenke på det.
Det jo det folk vant til, at det mor som skal passe på familien og være frontfiguren, og far som skal arbeide.
Man kan bli veldig fort få kritikk hvis man gjør noe feil, fordi man kanskje dame, men man kunne gjort det samme og ikke fått kritikk for det.
Liksom likestillingen der sånn egentlig I bunn og grunn. Vi veldig glad I å si I hvert fall at den det, og få oss selv til å tro det, men jeg tror vi blir dømt veldig forskjellig ut fra hvordan kjønn vi
Well, incredible, right? It was amazing. I just couldn't believe it. This country also has one of the most progressive norms, but still, as you see, the most legal norms. But gender stereotypes sometimes are, as you can see in this video, do not permit to have this society to be totally equal. And concerning gender perspective, the Harvard Business Review made a study, and here you can see how male and female entrepreneurs are described by venture capitalists. And you can see that, for example, the male entrepreneur described as young and promising, but the female entrepreneur is described as young and inexperienced. And you see this throughout all the comments, the differences. Also, this same study shows how managers use more positive words to describe men in performance, and you can see how it kind of like it's a vision of what the boy said, that she's frivolous and arrogant and irresponsible. It's different, the way that the negative, the way that they use to describe women. So it's amazing to see in these studies the differences of how women entrepreneurs and men entrepreneurs are perceived. And you could also see that in common sayings that go through from generation to generation, where men do not cry, boy will be boys, the woman is a tick of a man. I mean, it's amazing. And Gina Davis, who is an actress, has an institute where she analyzes gender and communication, and of 127 political roles, found that only 12 belong to women. And as you know, 70% of the world's research positions are led by men. 80% of research leadership positions in tech industry are also led by men. And as you can see here, the picture of the leaders of the COP27, most of the leaders were men. And in artificial intelligence also is affected. As you can see, Siri, Alexa, and Microsoft Cortana all use a voice of women because they tend to be more service more others. So I mean, there's also communications that we're surrounded by images that reinforce biases. For example, this was like a slap in the face. For Happy Women's Day, look like a girl, act like a lady, think like a man, and work like a boss. I mean, that is the worst thing you can say to a woman. So I wanted to show you this.
This afternoon, we're going to draw people doing different jobs. And the first job we're going to draw is a firefighter.
Have a think in your head what a firefighter looks like.
we do the same. What's your firefighter called?
Mine's called Firefighter Gary. Firefighter Stan. Firefighter Simon. He's big and strong. He's got a big helmet on.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Next, we're going to draw a surgeon.
Have you thought of a name for your surgeon? Jim Bob. Jim Bob. He's a brain surgeon. I think he would wear a stethoscope. He gives you medicine.
That's his ambulance. Okay, next, we're going to draw a fighter pilot.
This is his jet plane. He rescues people. He likes to do stunts in the air and stuff.
Okay, now who would like to meet these people for real?
Yeah! Are you dressed up?
My name's Tamsin and I'm a surgeon in the NHS.
My name's Lauren and I'm a pilot in the Royal Air Force.
My name's Lucy, I'm a firefighter in the London Fire Brigade.
So who wants to know how to do an operation?
Who's putting it on?
I'm trying my stethoscope.
We put this in here.
What does it look like?
There you go. Now you're a proper fighter pilot.
So into your ears. Can you hear that? Yeah. It's really good.
So as you can see, it's amazing how kids have this idea and how these gender norms and stereotypes are passed through generation, and they are a picture of our cultures. And if we tell a 4-year-old a story of a very intelligent person up to 4-year-old, they think it's of the same gender. But as you could see in this video, from age 6 and on, they tend to choose a boy. And there was this very interesting study from UNDP where it tackles social norms and how, in a way, they do not promote gender equality. And one highlight of the study was that 50% of men and women who were interviewed believe that men are better political leaders, and 40% of them believe that men were better corporate leaders. So it's amazing how to see that these differences are stuck in our head. And ECLAC, which is a United Nations agency, talks about how to promote, how societies that have and promote gender equality would look like. And they said that they would be healthier, more cohesive, happier, more efficient, more resilient, more robust, and democratic. And there are special international norms, like, for example, the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the CEDAW, which many states from where you're from have ratified it. And Article 5 specifically talks about the importance of member states that they should modify their social and cultural patterns of contact in order to achieve the elimination of prejudice and customary and all other practices which are based on the idea of inferiority, of superiority between the sexes, the roles of men and women. Also, I just wanted to let you know that it's amazing, but Ireland has a constitution where recognizes that her life within the home, that the importance of the woman and her role at home. So you can see the opposite, how there's international legislation which promotes and talks about the importance of tackling these norms, and local legislation which, even though they might have signed the CEDAW, talks about the importance of the role of the woman at home. And I just wanted you to look at this image. As you can see, a man, which is the leader, which is the breadwinner, assertive, strong, and with an impulse. And you can also see here an image of a woman who provides, supports, emotional, is helpful, sensitive, and fragile. But once you change that and you change the picture, some people tend to say, well, something is not right. Look at the woman who's the leader, the breadwinner, the assertive and strong with impulse, and look at the man who supports, has a support role, is emotional, helpful, and sensitive, and fragile. So there's this test that I invite you to take. I took it from Harvard, which measures implicit bias that all of us have. Even though sometimes we try not to have them, but we do, and it's embedded in our DNA practically. There was a study conducted in the Dominican Republic by UNFPA and Plan International and the European Union, where they asked different men what are the characteristics associated by being a man, and most people said that it was being a leader, the father of the family, which is not questioned, the one who exercises the authority with the family. And this leads to a fighter and courageous masculine identity that definitely ends up fostering a distrustful hardening that leads up to suspicion of intimacy and a rejection of the emotional. Melvin, who is 19 years old, was asked, how do you feel at work? And he says, I don't feel well. I wouldn't say I like it, but I'm forced to, because he's expected from the society to be the breadwinner and maintain his family. In contrast, there was an exercise where they asked men the characteristics of a good man, and they said that a good man was respectful, with empathy, and attentive. And it's amazing to see the difference between what a man is and what a good man is. They should be the same. But at the end, from this exercise, they saw that it was different. So definitely there are 1,000 ways to be a man. All men are different. But traditional roles reinforce the stereotypes, and the stereotypes lead to roles. The roles determine social norms, and they discriminate and become societies which are more inequitable. Man is to be a leader that is not being questioned, as you saw in the first slide. So the norm is that we should limit the questioning and the criticism, and the man will, in a way, vets the emotions and has problems managing his emotions. How does this discriminate? Well, the couple cannot express their needs. The children can't communicate. The man, they don't learn how to manage their emotions with their vocabulary. Therefore, the communication channels are closed. And this promotes inequalities because the idea of co-responsibility is totally eliminated in both ways and work in the workplace and in the household activities, and creates gaps to stop women from accessing their rights and opportunities. Therefore, gender equality, well, it's not just a women's issue. It's an issue that affects all human beings, both women, girls, men, and boys. And gender equality also frees men from pre-established social norms and gender stereotypes. The rate of suicide is much higher in men because of all these gender norms. Now we're about to introduce a very special person because he will talk to us about intersectionality with a focus on disabilities. And what do we mean by intersectionality? Was a concept that was established by Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989, and it talks about a way of thinking about the identity and its relationship to power on all stages of life, and also religion, sexual identity, poverty, race, indigeneity, which means if you're an indigenous group or part of an indigenous group or not, your geographic location, and disability. So I'd like to present Mr. Ricardo Rampaul, Chief Operating Officer for the National Center of Persons with Disability. Thank you so much, Ricardo.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Catalina. So, the National Center for Persons with Disabilities. Our vision is a country in which each person with a disability enjoy equal access to the rights, privileges, and opportunities afforded to all citizens. Our mission is to be the lead aiding organization that is renowned for educating and training persons with disabilities to contribute to a disability-inclusive society. Just an overview of what we do at National Center for Persons with Disabilities is we provide skills training to differently able young men and women. So what we do, we provide training. Some of the disabilities that we focus on are visual impairment, development disorder, ADHD, autism, hearing impaired, deaf, speech impediment, cerebral palsy, learning disability, intellectual disability, seizures disorder, and Down syndrome. We don't discriminate against any one disability. We are inclusive. Each person with a disability from age 14 can access training at our center. Our current population consists of, we have two centers, one at the unit on San Fernando on Sucaran Street. It's 18%, and 82% is at our main center on the main in San Fernando, the city of San Fernando, that is. So our vocational training consists of woodwork, beauty culture, office administration, food preparation, bookbinding, garment construction, welding, and agriculture. We also do advocacy and sensitization session, as what I'm doing here today. We also offer remedial computer literacy, music, art and craft, counseling, sexual comprehensive education, and character education in developing a holistic individual. Our training population consists of trainees in the various skill area, where the majority of our trainers and trainees come from the agriculture area that you can see. We also have our independent living skills, where these are for the more lower functioning students, that they learn basic day-to-day functions, how to operate in a domestic situation, how to make up your bed, how to do laundry, how to do gardening, and some of them transition into coming to the center to learn a skill. So a pre-vocational aspect of the program is designed for clients who have the potential to advance the vocational skill and they need to build on their competency level to enter into the program, to be able to function properly and to be certified at the end. In garment construction, trainees learn the basic functions, how to produce garments, pattern drafting, sewing, stitching, how to use the binding cloth, the brown cotton to develop the different designs, and some of them have went on to become seamstress as entrepreneurs. Food preparation, this skill area is very, very high in demand, where trainees learn how to cook. Some of them, they went on to become chefs, employed at some of the fast food restaurants and even the local food courts within the city of San Fernando and where the environs that they come from. Office administration, trainees learn the basic functions, how to operate and to work in an office environment. And some of them went on to becoming clerical assistants, working at businesses or the woodwork division. This one is very, very, very important to our development and training at the center. Trainees learn the basic functions of the different type of materials that is available to make furniture. They learn the basic functions, how to repair and refurbish furniture. And in this area, we develop a small business component and persons are employed and persons collect a stipend for the work that they produce. Some trainees who have left the center, who studied woodwork, went along to open their own woodwork shop. Agriculture. Agriculture is a very critical part of our program, where trainees learn how to survive and how to become an entrepreneur in the planting crops, short-term crops that you grow in the Caribbean. Some of them sell their crops to the neighbors. Some of the produce that they even sell, grow at the center, they sell it and they have an income coming in. Welding. Some of the trainees in this division, they learn the basic welds, how to produce furniture, and we do refurbishing of low-cost wheelchairs and assistive aids that will support persons with disabilities. And trainees, they write the NEC Craft Certificate Level 1. They move on. Some of them move on to open their own welding shop and they do fabricating, building gates, working for persons who are in this sector also. Bookbinding. Trainees in the bookbinding area learn how to make notepads, notebooks in this area, and some of them went on to become entrepreneurs again, and they sell the items that they made, and they got a little income and reinvest in the little small business. The paper recycling program is a follow-up from the bookbinding area, where we take shredded paper, we recycle the paper, and we make postcards, seedling cards, and these things, it's biodegradable. So some people use it as the seedling cards. So when you put it in the dirt, you will get a plant eventually. Beauty culture. Trainees, they learn the basic manicure, pedicure, facial, how to attend to a customer in this skill area. And some of them have moved on to opening their own salon, and they have income coming in. Information technology. Our students are equipped with the skills to enable them to function in a computerized digital age, because everything takes research, how to design, how to cater to clients, different ways of doing things, what is in demand today, what is the trend that persons are looking for. So we train them how to use a computer properly. And persons with disabilities, some of them, they are not given their limitations and the culture norms. They are not exposed to a lot of mathematics, English, and so on. So we rely heavily on our reading and mathematics to increase their level, because we see it as, if it is you are learning a skill, you must be able to read and write. So people will not take advantage of you when you are looking for a job or when you are searching for a job. Art and craft. Some of, as you may know, some persons with disabilities, they are very artistic, creative, and they can use their hands pretty well. So our art and craft program, it's an avenue where persons gravitate towards to showcase the creativity and the work that they can produce. So music. This music program starts off as a form of therapy to persons with behavioral challenges and persons with varying disabilities. And from the music program stem off a NCPD music band that we go about for any in-house programs. The band performs, and if it is that someone wants our services, they contact us and we make arrangement to play at a small cost at the event. All right, the transition and pathway. So our program, it's a 2-year program to learn. After they graduate, they have the option to come back into our entrepreneurial program. In this program, what they do, we transition them into the world of work, because they are here with us, meaning NCPD, for a period of 2 years or even longer. So some of them, they get really comfortable because they gravitate towards us as being the friend, the big brother, somebody that they can rely on to share their stories. And sometimes they feel very sheltered. So now this program is a transition them into the labor market, get them ready for the real world of work, supporting them in any way we can, developing the employability skills, teaching them how the work ethic that is required to manage a job, and how to communicate within an organization. What is NIS, what is the minimum wage, all of these things that we teach them about. We also teach them for the ones who really interested in becoming an entrepreneur, because not everyone will want to become an entrepreneur. Some people are comfortable working for themselves or working for someone else. We teach them, we work with these persons individually and teach them how to take this business venture and this idea and to make it profitable. The skill that is required to become an entrepreneur. Also, anywhere you work, there are challenges. And we are no different. And persons with disabilities, their society looks at them as if they cannot do anything. They look at them as if they have to be cast aside or be hidden away and not to be shown to the members of the public. But that is slowly changing. Persons with disabilities, they are the forefront. They are here and they are part of society, and we just have to accept that. So the barriers that we face are knowledge. Employers lack the knowledge about persons with disabilities. The place is not accessible. Communication with persons with disabilities, especially deaf persons. Not everyone will want to learn sign language and how to communicate with persons who are deaf, because persons who are deaf, they have their own culture and the way they communicate. Also, we may refer to persons not by a person with a disability, or we might refer to them as the local slang, like a deaf and dumb person, or someone who is who blind, and this time the person is visually impaired. So we use the wrong language at times to refer to someone, and you wouldn't like somebody to refer to you as that. So some of the key stakeholders that we partner with and employ persons with disabilities. And I must say, at NCPD, we don't discriminate against gender. We don't discriminate against anyone. Our whole program is very inclusive. We have women in the welding department, and we know that welding, woodwork, and agriculture, they are male-dominant fields. And we have women or young ladies, I like to refer to them as, studying these skills. So once you're interested in the program, come on board. We won't discriminate, and sometimes the young ladies, they perform better than the young men in terms of learning the skill, acquiring the skill, and moving on to become productive members of society. So in Trinidad, we have the National Policy for Persons with Disabilities. The legislation measure equal opportunity and promotion and equal pay for persons with disabilities in the labor market, implementation of systems and procedures to protect persons with disabilities from discrimination and sexual harassment, implementation of the measures to reduce discrimination in the workplace. Also, there are policies in place to protect women in the workplace. We focus heavily on sexual abuse, discrimination, exploitation, sexual harassment, equal opportunities for women, programs for them to develop their skills and competencies just as men, to level the playing field, ensure that the social services are there to provide and support women, because in the starting off from the home, women are the backbone of the family. And yes, the male may go out and work and be the breadwinner, but it's a woman who holds the family together emotionally. And even women who has disabilities, there are policies in place to protect women. So NCPD, we ensure that trainees receive equal opportunities of the program. As I said before, beauty culture, welding, agriculture, we don't stereotype, we don't discriminate against persons who express interest in a particular skill. Because beauty culture, for example, we had male students study beauty culture and they came out excellent barbers. We also collaborate with stakeholders to ensure that we implement projects and climate smart gardens, our hydroponics program and grow box, and all of these programs, it were inclusive, meaning men, women, girls and boys were involved. We also collaborate with Maxi Taxis Association at a national level to do up a recommendation for them how to develop and how to improve the infrastructure for persons with disabilities in the public transport. So simple things as repainting the zebra crossing at a different color, installing strobe lights so people will know exactly what's going on, or it will trigger some kind of change in the environment. Placing signage in Braille that the Maxi Taxis is over there, installing an elevator system if it is have to use a lengthy staircase to go up to get their transportation. Wheelchair ramps is also very important for persons who uses a wheelchair to access these services. So thank you very much. Any questions? And thanks to Catalina and the team for giving me this opportunity to present to you this afternoon.
Ricardo, thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation. If you could see all the comments in the chat, they're so interested in everything that you're doing. There's a phone number over there to see if they can transfer this knowledge to other places throughout the Caribbean. So congratulations, Ricardo. Big hooray for this wonderful presentation. Well, we have 50 more minutes before we go to the group discussions. So I will skip some of my slides to talk. Yes.
Sorry, would you like me to, I see a lot of person asking, can you share my contact with them or?
Oh, sure, of course. Perfect. if you'd like to put it in the chat, you can directly
okay.
share. Unless
Sure.
you need any help with that, I can help you with that. And
Okay, I
let me
think
know.
you would, because I'm seeing direct messaging to persons here.
Perfect.
Ricardo, what we can do is, because we will also send the presentation, and we're happy to just also circulate your contact details together with the information in the aftermath of the training, because there is indeed a lot of questions also on you on how it is funded,
yes,
and other questions.
And I know we're working with time, so definitely share my contact and the presentation, and I will definitely make contact with the persons and take it from there. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Ricardo. Wonderful presentation, and the things that you're doing in your organization are excellent, and it's an honor to learn more about what you're doing. So I'm gonna skip some of the my slides, and I'll go right to the point where we'll analyze in these next 15 minutes some tools to for businesses, in order for business ventures to have a gender lens. And it's important to have 6 pillar axes that consider a comprehensive intervention in the management of the personnel and the company. The first one is regulations that foster an inclusive and equitable organizational culture. Equity, the second one, equity in personnel management, training and for equality, training for equality and with equality, gender sensitive communication and marketing, importance, as you can see in my next slides, of life work balance, zero tolerance for all forms of violence against women in the workplace and against men in the workplace. And some items which are essential at the workplace to take into consideration is health, safety, and hygiene, professional development, equal pay, maternity and paternity leave, support for fathers and mothers as caregivers. Also, to have a very explicit policies against violence, harassment, and sexual exploitation. And it's important to analyze your marketing and communication tools, marketing with a gender perspective, and development of products and services with a gender perspective too. And I'll show you an example of a successful company that managed to do so. And here is a study by the ILO, International Labor Organization, with several Caribbean companies, and how they saw that inserting a gender lens perspective was something that could be that could have positive impacts. And the first thing that for them was essential was attracting and retaining talent. The company reputation also was seen as a very important asset, creativity and innovation and openness. And this is very important because once you have this gender lens, you tend to focus on your most immediate stakeholders, which are men and women inside your company and outside your company. They could be your clients, and they could be also be your human resources. So it's important to take into consideration inserting the gender lens in your company in order to be able to understand these relationships between men and women. Profitability and productivity, and consumer interest and demand. Obviously, as I said before, it attracts different types of employees, especially millennials and the Generation Z. The costs of staff turnover are reduced. And as I said before, as a company, the impact you have is not only in your employees, it's also towards the family of your employees, their community, and the country itself. So it's important to foster the involvement of men in the participation of parenting by like you would see in the next slides, some important perks for men and women in order to have a work and life balance. As I said before, gender lenses in entrepreneurship strengthens organizational development, increases access to specific markets, and the World Bank just published this study of a bank in the Dominican Republic where they analyzed their sex segregated data, which is very important for your entrepreneur and your venture to take in consideration, always having sex segregated data to see which men and which women consume your product. And they found out that some of the needs, the commercial needs that women had, were not met, and they created different products, and they had reached very big profitability because of doing this targeted market segmentation. Also, once you start creating the process of inserting gender lens in your business, it's very important that there's a high commitment from the highest level of the enterprise. Most small enterprises have one owner. So it's very important that you yourself is convinced that this is something that is going to work out. And once you have you become bigger, this will permeate throughout all your culture and your value chain. But once you have this high commitment, then you can do a self-diagnosis to see where you are. After that, you're going to see all the gaps that are focusing on several aspects that you can see next to the presentation, which are the recruitment processes, the professional development performance, equal pay, prevention of sexual gender-based harassment, and work-life balance and communication. You're going to analyze all these items or these pillars, and after that, you make the diagnosis. You'll have an action plan, which you will implement, and you will have a result, which in turn will have changes within your value chain, internally and both externally. So I said it's very important to have a high level of commitment, because you will be forced to make some investments of time and maybe money. So I also wanted to talk about the recruitment process, which is very important, because gender bias, as you can see in this hiring job description, which was posted in social media, is present. The gender biases in all aspects of the recruitment and promotional life cycle, and gendered language and imaginary in job advertisements can influence potential applicants, and unconscious and conscious bias and gendered stereotyping influence shortlistings, interviews, hiring, salary, and promotion decisions, as well as talent identification and performance and development discussions and program opportunities. So as you can see in this job description, it says at the end, it gives all the requirements that the candidate can have, but it says at the end, it's a receptionist, so female candidates are preferred. So also, I'd like to talk about the professional development, where definitely, as you can see, on 2021, Harvard Business School surveyed more than 150 female executives in a wide range of businesses around the globe, and found a strong agreement that gender bias and structural disadvantages are impeding women's success. And this goes from just the recruitment processes to the employment retention. And these executives saw especially an uneven playing field when it comes to compensation and promotion as well, with 9 out of 10 agreeing that women are at least somewhat disadvantaged in those processes. So the reasons for the glass ceiling definitely are the pre-established gender roles. And as you see here, according to a latest report by UN Women, the glass ceiling remains intact. Close to 1 in every 3 managers and supervisors is women at the current pace. The parity will not be achieved for 140 years. There's also a tool which once you get the slides, you can access this tool, where there's an equal pay diagnostic tool, which was created by UN Women. And as you know, pay is one of the key factors affecting motivation and relationships at work, and ultimately contributing to the commercial success you may have, because people always value to be rewarded fairly. And this equal pay diagnostic tool compares sex segregated data and also the terms of reference and each of the actions that are there and how they differ between men and women. It's completely free. We don't have time because we only have 6 more minutes, and I just want to go through all these slides. The prevention of sexual and gender-based harassment in the workplace. There's different types of forms of sexual harassment, and it's very important that in your corporate culture that you have continuous training and support and sensibilization throughout all the processes that you follow, where there's a culture based on respect and dignity. And it's very important for you to have a strict policy and a written policy with procedures where there's protection against victims and also where there's no retaliation against complaints. And as I said before, it is very important to collect data to segregate it by sex in order for you to compare if there are differences of this occurring for both men and women. So those are some steps that you should take in order to have this as one of the pillars. When we talk about work-life balance with co-responsibility, what we mean is that your company should guarantee and the democratization of care tasks and incorporate actions under the notion that parenthood, as well as tasks typical of the family life, such as caring for cohabitants with special needs and caring for the elderly, has to be done by the possibility by all women and men. And one aspect of that I wanted to highlight is that there's no postnatal leave for fathers in many countries in the Caribbean, as you can see, Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Belize, Cuba, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent, Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. And one of the top priorities, according to LinkedIn, that most candidates look for when they're searching for a new job is the work-life balance. And when we talk about work-life balance, we don't only talk about flexible work arrangements. According to the IE Business School, we talk about the flexibility, but also social benefits and also family support and mobility measures. So talking about your communications, I'd like to stress that I want you to look at these advertisements, which definitely focus on gender stereotypes, and they don't reveal a very favorable outlook for these companies. And some of them understood that and made some changes, as you'll see in the next slide. But it's important now that you're starting your own business to the way you communicate internally and externally to try to be gender sensitive. And as I said before, Budweiser made that change because they noticed that there was a very negative perception of the brand because of these ads, and they changed, she found to be married to 2 men, and they changed to she found she has it all. So it's important to take into consideration this gender perspective in your marketing and your communication tools. I want to give you this link to the Women's Empowerment Principles with the Gender Gap Analysis tool. It's only 18 questions. It's free, and you can do it online. And Women's Empowerment Principles are composed of 7 principles, and it's important for you. I think it's interesting. Maybe you can take it. You can spend some time and analyze it, and the link, you'll receive it shortly. And also there's another very interesting tool by UNDP, which is the Gender Seal, and they analyze the value chain of the companies by the following topics. So right now we are in time. We're going to have 20 minutes to break out to our rooms and answer the following questions. What are the challenges in integrating a gender perspective in the business. And if you would like to implement a gender approach in your business tomorrow, what actions would you take? Which changes would you implement? And what decisions would you take? So, and the floor is all yours, and we can divide ourselves into groups. Once you finish answering these questions, I hope one of you will go back, and we have 5 minutes of presentations of each group in order for you to describe what you discussed. I think it's really nice for us to have a space where we can talk, meet, and discuss these topics together. So thank you.
Thank you, Catalina. Thanks a lot for this nice presentation. In order not to excess the time, and if we do, maybe it will be better just to do 15 minutes in breakout rooms and then 5 minutes of restitution, because otherwise we do the restitution in 3 minutes for each group. I don't know what you prefer, Catalina. 15 or 20 minutes?
We have 20 minutes. Oh, sure. Which I think we should have the 20 minutes and 3 minutes of restitution. What do you all think?
Okay, let's do that. So I will create now the breakout rooms.
Perfect.
Let's go. Everyone will go to one room. So just give me time to create the rooms.
And if you have any question, don't hesitate to write it in the chat. And of course, I'll answer right back really fast. Anything that you have that you want to clarify, don't hesitate to ask.
Good evening. I guess we would have the questions again or delivered into the groups. Yes.
Yes. Great question. Yes, there'll be the facilitators, and Lucy and Yankee will be there, and they will project the questions in a special program where you will be able to see it and talk about it together. Great question, Desiree. Thank you. So you only have to hit join, or you will be taken automatically to the breakout rooms. And it's really a fun exercise where you can meet your peers and discuss this theme. So everyone is coming back, and it's so exciting to see all the rich discussions when I went throughout the groups. And obviously, I wanted to highlight the wonderful work done by Anne, Yankee, and Lucy, and Christina facilitating the discussions. We have just a few minutes, and who will be the one that will present the results from group number 1? Anne,
For our group, that was Kamara. Are you there?
A big round of applause for Kamara. Woo! I was so excited listening to all your discussions.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, and I hope I can remember and I can see. My eyesight is not the best, but I'll try. Okay, all right. So on the question, what are the challenges in integrating a gender perspective in business? The main points that we came up with were there were many non-gender sensitive males and females, like men and women in the workplace, right? And so they lacked the sensitivity to each other's needs in terms of communication, cooperation, and all those other shuns, right? Then there was a need to overcome gender expectations as it relates to cultural and social influences, because as one of the team members indicated, that depending on the area that you're in, sometimes it's the women who are not taken seriously, and sometimes it's the men who are not taken seriously. For example, in maybe the art aspect or the art industry and stuff like that, right? Then you have to look at the type of business, the duration, and the niche of operations to determine what type of issues that you're going to have in terms of the challenges with the gender roles. Then we have women, we as women, our voices are not taken seriously. We're off, even though we might have the same skill set, more experience, same experience, education background, and all of that, we're still not valued as much, and our input is not valued as much. So that's something that needs to work on. And then, our emotions, unfortunately, are miscommunicated and misconstrued. So things like being passionate are often mistaken for being bitchy, and there's a breakdown in communication and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's always the salary discrimination, and there's the lack of legislative and administrative framework that does not support gender equality. Try not to be too long. Okay, for the next question, if you would like to, if you would like to implement a gender approach in your business tomorrow, what actions would you take, change, or implement? What decisions would you make? And we said we have gender equality in terms of managerial and even lower level administration positions. Internal procedures with a gender lens must encompass respect, inclusivity, and empathy. Start with a policy and ensure equal pay. Provide emotional support, mediation when it comes to communication, gender equality in terms of managerial and lower administrative positions, legislation to fix biases, internal procedures, I said that already, sorry, and implement gender sensitivity orientation training as a background and critical mass of gender sensitive males that will be gender sensitive for men and women, sorry, that will be crucial. I hope I got that right.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wonderful. I am so proud. Excellent. What a great job. Amazing. You guys are experts. I'm so excited. Let's go to the second group. Kamada, congrats. It's an honor. So let's hear the second group. Janke, your discussions were excellent as well. Who is the person designated to represent your group?
I can go ahead and volunteer.
Hi, Barbara. Great. Thank you so much. Janke, would you like to project the mural? Perfect. I can see it's starting to appear on the screen. Thank you, Kamara.
Okay, so the first question was, what are the challenges in integrating a gender perspective in the business? And our first point would be inherent bias among individuals. So that would be I would say, the challenge, right? Because that is something that people grow up with, thinking that that is normal, right? Um, and an example would be, men think that skincare products are just for women. So we need to go ahead and educate everyone. So that would be just an example. And the second point would be sexual harassment in the workplace, especially against women, but also against men, which is not usually acknowledged, because sometimes we often think that, okay, their feelings are not, does not matter, but it does, right? The other point that we made would be workplace culture established over time, and it is trying to change because of the reaction of the people there. Another point would be recruitment and selection process needs to be changed to support gender equality and inclusivity. And our last point would be mindset towards work such as agriculture for men and a agro-processing for women. Okay, sorry. I can see that well in my computer.
It was great. That's what it said. Wonderful, Kamara. Wonderful.
Okay, so for the other question,
we would have to zoom out.
If you would like to implement a gender approach in your business tomorrow, what actions would you take? Which challenges would you implement, and what decision would you take? The first point would be open to changing the culture of an organization to follow a gender equality strategy. For instance, we have this example, even the acronym that even represent that culture that you're going to go ahead and share with your company, then it should even be geared towards gender equality. Our third one would be equal career advancement and pay. Everybody should be getting the just a equal opportunity, right, to go ahead and get promoted based on how well you do even in the selection process. Prevent gender and sexual harassment through education. One of our teammates did mention that this is very important because sometimes even men and women, they don't even know what sexual harassment is, right? So you need to let them know of the actions that would even be considered sexual harassment. Put systems in place to mitigate and address the problem. Put penalties in place. Gender values should be at the core of the business principle, and start the education on gender equality from an early stages, even at the onboarding or even just creating that job description. You should already just place gender equality norms, right? Have flexibility for workers in schedule and suited for livelihood, and create work environment for everyone to participate. And that would be everything.
Yay! A big round of applause. Wonderful. That's excellent. So proud of you guys. Let's go to the third team. And thank you for volunteering. I know a lot of you were kind of shy in the group, so I'm really happy that you stepped up and represented everyone in your group. And let's go to the third and final group. And Lucy, the floor is yours.
Yes, we have a very good discussion. So I will share my screen so that you can see what we did in my group. Just give me 1 minute to be able to share it. Here I am.
And it's amazing how we've followed time, because these discussions can get so passionate, and we've been very strict with the time following. So you guys should be really proud, really, because it was tough.
Just give me 1 minute. I will share my screen right now. Here we are. And we have a speaker as well for the group.
Yes, we do. It is it's me, Bradley.
Hey, Bradley.
Right. Hey, everyone. Well, to answer our first question, what are the challenges that we had to integrate a gender perspective in the business? We realized that first and foremost, the main problem that we'll have is going to be a cultural problem, where, especially in the Caribbean, we have a culture where male and female gender roles are really fixed. So we would have to really have to address that up front to try to get a paradigm shift within the organization that we're trying to implement the change in. The second thing that we looked at is that we have to be able to get it top down, bottom up. So we have to have the leaders buying in, because again, based on the discussions that we had, we realized that most of the organizations are male-led, male-dominated, with a minority female. We will have to change that mindset, because there may be males who may not want to give up that power role in terms of changing that shift and releasing some of the power that they may have in their organizations to allow other genders. And when we say other genders, we say male, female, non-binary, all those other things, because we have to factor in that those genders are now recognized and they will be in our organizations, and we have to include them. So therefore, there has to be that mindset and paradigm shift, which is going to be difficult from our Caribbean perspective because of the culture, the way we have been cultured and engendered already. So we got to change that. We got to do that because we have to change the public awareness in terms of these new roles, and we have to educate from the school level all the way up through the societal level, tertiary, up to and into the organization, in order to get that change. If we start the education from early, by the time those young people become ready for the workforce, they already have a shift in mindset that is more accepting to the organizational norms. So once we start there, we can have an easier transition. We also realize that persons with disability, as again in the discussion, also have these challenges, and in order to be inclusive, we will want to include persons with disabilities, and we may have to then sensitize, because that's a double whammy for those persons, the gender issues that they may face on top of the disabilities. So we have to be more inclusive and more accepting. So that would ensure, or that would make us have to make a shift in terms of what the leaders do. So that would entail having a policy shift. And the policy shift has to be leader-led, organizational-led, whereby once you see the leaders engendering and selling that to the employee, then the employee is more prone to accept or to integrate it once they see that the leaders are out front pushing that agenda. Because it makes no sense asking the employee to do it and adjust when the leader is resistant to the change. So it has to be a leadership-led from the front approach in terms of that. And we have to also have a shift in public policy. So legislation may also be a challenge. Again, because of cultural norms or whatever else, we are slow to uptake changes at the policy level, legislation level, governmental level. So if we get a mindset shift, and it may have to be a person driven, where the person that is your politician, constituency, whatever else, who is going to be making those decisions at that level may have to get a nudge from the persons at the bottom. So if the organization comes out and helps to drive policy by the internal changes that we make, then that may help to alleviate that for that section. Now, when we move on to what we would have to do to implement our approach in terms of the business tomorrow, again, started with the policy. We have to start with the policy. We have to make sure we have a comprehensive, inclusive policy that looks at the holistic thing in terms of gender, the biases that we want to try to eliminate, And that policy has to be, again, leader-driven. The strategy has to be clearly written, clearly understood. The organizational norms, the mission statements, all those things have to encompass this new shift from what the old policy is, and it has to be reinforced through training, education, information available to employees, staff, customer, all that sort of stuff in terms of what our organization now stands for, what we accept, what we will not accept. There also has to be penalties for breaching those things. We may not want to say that you want to penalize people, because that's not always the end goal, but there has to be some penalty for breaches. So therefore, when you want to do that, you have to then say to, if we don't understand that we have to comply with what are the new norms for the organization, there's some penalty, then some people may not want to. You may find that some people may leave as a result, but then you find that other people will want to adjust. And then that gives us the opportunity, after we implement, to monitor and evaluate. So are our strategies working? What is the response? Is there resistance to it? What can we change? And once we do that, then we come back again, we tweak the policies, we tweak the implementation, and then we go on to always constantly educating and re-educating. Because if there are things that aren't working, or they're changing, and that is where feedback will come back to us, then we can educate on those things, have persons come in, assist us with the education, and we stretch it across the board, because it's always going to be ongoing education, because the things will change. Yes. And then the final holistic thing is that we will have public awareness, and public awareness can be caught up in our brand identity. We will then, if we want to shift, let the public see the new persona of the organization from within. So if we are selling that we are judging, we must show it. So therefore, if it is, when you come to our organization, you realize that we have persons with disabilities, we have persons who are non-binary, we have persons who are out front, their washrooms or things available for persons of all genders, where they feel comfortable that they have a choice, then we have to be able to project that out to the public, so that the public understands that we're inclusive, and that's the way that we go forward from our perspective. And really and truly, at the end, that's the way I think, and our group thinks that we should approach this. So
wow, Bradley, thank you so much for such interesting points. And I love the way you summarized everything. It was great. Excellent presentation. Everyone is saying you should read the comments in the chat and be so proud. Thank you. All the groups were wonderful. I'd like to thank all our moderators, Lucy, Christine, and Janke and Ariana, for such a wonderful work at MicroPitch. And all of you, I wish you the best of the best. And I'm so proud of my friends in the Caribbean, how you show your leadership and all your knowledge. And I am so honored to have been able to talk to you and meet you. Thank you. Thank you. Really, it's been a pleasure and an honor. Good evening for all of you. And I'll give the microphone to Lucy. Thank you once more. Congratulations.
And thank you,
Catalina. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Catalina, for your presentation. Thank you as well to Ricardo, to all of you. So for such great discussions, the group work was so interesting, and I think we all come back with a homework and action plan how to do that starting tomorrow. So it's so great. So thanks a lot for all of you for your participation. We are very sorry we are not able really to answer to the questions, but write your questions in the chat and we will do all the best to answer to them, and we will send you an email with the presentation and with some answers to your questions.
And
so now I would like to, yes,
sorry about that. Also with the info on Mr. Rampaul, I think it's Ricardo Rampaul. He used to share some information, some email, I think, I'm not sure.
Yes, by email, and as well you will have access to the recording and all the presentation on the website, MicroPitch website. But we will send you an email to inform you.
Yes, but Ricardo, if we have questions for Ricardo Rampaul, his contact information.
Yes, we will put it in the chat if it's, I don't know if it has been done so far, but otherwise, yeah, someone will put it now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Michaela.
You're most welcome.
So thank you. I would like to give the floor to Cristina Eisele, who is representative for the Southern and Eastern Caribbean of the European Investment Bank. Cristina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lucy, and thank you to everyone. I'm representing the European Investment Bank in the Southern and Eastern Caribbean region, and I'm just very honored to have been able to attend this training. So first of all, big thank you to Catalina Gutierrez and to Ricardo Rampaul for your excellent presentation. I personally learned a lot myself, and I really enjoyed this. And then secondly, thank you to all the participants, because it's really the participants that make the training. And I had the opportunity to attend one of the breakout groups, the third one. And again, I really learned a lot from the perspectives and the views, and also enjoyed listening to the presentations from the first two breakout groups. So thank you for that. And I very much encourage you to put in practice, the points that you mentioned, which were all excellent points. So put those in practice in your businesses and transform your businesses in that direction. And from the European Investment Bank, gender equality is really at the core of what we do. And we believe, and Catalina has very much demonstrated in her presentation and how research supports it, that supporting women is not only good for women, but it's good for their families, it's good for wider communities, and it's good for the wider economies. So it's good for everyone. So we're very happy to have been able to offer this first training on this topic. So thank you very much for having participated. And I encourage you to follow the next trainings, and obviously also to participate in the business plan competition. But it was an honor to participate and to listen to everyone's views. So thank you for participating, and congratulations to all. Look forward to seeing you in the next session.
Thank you, Cristina. Thanks a lot. So thank you. This training came to an end now. It was very great to be able to share ideas and everything with you. So we wish you very nice Christmas time, and we really look forward to see you next year for the next trainings, and as well and we encourage you to apply to the business plan competition. So you can see on the screen, if you can please just take 1 minute to answer the survey, to put your name, and so that we can prepare the certificate for you, and we can listen to your feedback. And we wish you Merry Christmas, and we see you in January. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Merry
Blessings,
Christmas.
everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Bye, everyone. Not seeing the link in the chat to click. Is it the link that says also at Caribbean? Oh, the evaluation.